Throw me the ball and watch what I do with it.
You are now tuned in to the CherryPickin podcast with your host, Andre Cherry.
Hey everybody, this is your host Andre Cherry, and you are listening to the CherryPickin podcast, which is presented by the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Previously on the CherryPickin podcast. Then we had Temple versus number 23 Memphis. Memphis came into Temple at the Link this past weekend, and they left with a 30-28 loss. Temple is now ranked number 25 in the coaches poll for the first time this season after beating two teams who are ranked in the AP top 25. These two teams, though, they had a combined 6 turnovers in this game, which is not good. But Temple's defense had 3 sacks on quarterback Brady White. Temple's wide receiver Brendan Mack had 9 receptions for 125 yards with 1 touchdown, so he was a monster performer in this game against Memphis this past weekend. And Temple is now 5-1 right now, but they will have a tough road test at number 19 SMU this weekend. Temple is 2-0 against ranked opponents on its schedule, so Temple steps up in big-time performances, big-time matchups, and this will be another game in which they're going to have to really bring their best effort on the road at SMU to beat a number 19 ranked SMU squad. And I believe this game will be on ESPN2 this weekend, so it'll be out there for you guys to watch and enjoy. And hopefully you follow the Owls in this matchup against SMU. Hey guys. Thank you for tuning in to a very special episode of the CherryPickin podcast. On this episode, I'll preview the upcoming Temple versus SMU matchup this weekend. The Owls are 5-1 and 2-0 in the conference after the upset win over Memphis last weekend by a score of 30-28. Temple now travels on the road to Dallas to face its second consecutive ranked opponent in SMU. The last time these two teams faced off in Dallas was back on October 1st, 2016. And during that matchup, the Owls beat SMU by a score of 60-40. Now, I don't think these two teams will come close to scoring a combined 100 points in their matchup this weekend, as these two teams look very different this season. First, why don't we take a look at SMU, which is led by head coach Sonny Dykes. Number 19th ranked SMU scores the 6th most points in college football with 44.2 points per game. This weekend, the Mustangs will go against an Owls defense that only allows its opponents to score 19 points per game, which is best for 24th in the country. Some key SMU players to be on the lookout for this weekend are quarterback Shane Buccelli, who is completing 67% of his throws for over 1,600 yards and 12 touchdowns. Running back Xavier Jones leads the team in rushing with 646 yards and 12 touchdowns. Wide receivers Reggie Roberson Jr. and James Proche lead the team with a combined 1,074 yards receiving and 10 total touchdowns. On defense, SMU is led by safety Patrick Nelson, who leads the team with 5.5 sacks, 1 interception, and 38 total tackles. Linebacker Richard McBride is the anchor of the SMU linebacking corps and leads this group in tackles with 38. SMU's best win of the season came against number 25 TCU during week 4 of the season. Now, if we look at Temple, a big question that I had coming into this season revolved around how Temple could replace the production loss after running back Raquel Armstead departed for the NFL after last season. That question appears to be answered by the emergence of dynamic freshman running back Ray Davis. Among true freshmen, Davis has the most rushing yards in the entire FBS at 575 yards. Davis also has the most attempts, yards after contact, and first down runs by a true freshman. Davis's 575 rushing yards currently ranks 25th among all running backs within FBS and 4th in the American Conference. Davis's best game this season came against ECU when the freshman running back ran for 157 yards and 1 score on 24 carries. The offensive line for Temple has been solid this season. This group of players has a lot of experience, and they've only allowed 27 QB pressures this season. Among FBS teams with at least 200 pass plays, this ranks second behind only Notre Dame. This is a stat worth mentioning because that protection has allowed quarterback Anthony Russo to complete some big plays through the air. Temple has scored at least 20 points in 18 consecutive games, which is the 4th longest streak within FBS behind only Oklahoma, Ohio State, and Clemson. And we're talking about those are 3 teams that have the most explosive offenses in college football today. So that is quite the streak. Now, if we look at the defense for Temple has been the strength of this program for several seasons now. This season, the Owls are anchored by linebacking core Chappelle Russell, Sam Franklin, and Sean Bradley, who are all single-digit tough players. Combined, the trio has accounted for 87 total tackles. The Owls defense ranks 4th in red zone defense, 7th in pass efficiency defense, 12th in third down conversion defense, and 31st in total defense overall. The Owls will have its work cut out for themselves, though, this weekend going up against an SMU squad that puts up the second most total offense per game within the AAC. And they're averaging close to 500 yards per game. So that's going to be, Temple's defense is going to have some work this weekend. And to close this up, if Temple can win this weekend against SMU, the program will officially become bowl eligible. The Owls program has been to 8 bowl games, including its current streak of 4 in a row. The Temple Owls have been bowl eligible for the last 5 consecutive seasons for the first time in program history. Next week, the Owls will host UCF at home. Kickoff for that game is set for 7 p.m. on October 26th. So with that said, I think Temple's defense and this team is going to have its work cut out for themselves this weekend on the road at SMU. I think it'll be one of the most challenging games they faced off in this season. And I think if Temple has a shot to win this, they're going to, one, have to cut down on the turnovers because they've turned the ball over quite a few times in these last few games. And they're also going to have to rely on their defense to really keep them in this game. SMU has quite the offense, and I think that they are capable of putting up a lot of points in this game if it gets out of hand. So cut down on the turnovers, rely heavily on that defense, and then just keep feeding the ball to Ray Davis. And then the O-line for Temple will just give Anthony Russo some time back there in the pocket to make plays through the air to wide receivers Brendan Mack and then to Isaiah Wright. So if Temple does the things that they do well in this game, they will have a chance to win this game. I think it's going to be a tough matchup, and I can't wait to see it really play out. Because right now, I don't know who I would give the edge to. But I think Temple is rolling on some momentum. They're 5-1 right now. And if they can win this weekend, they will have a very big matchup at home, a revenge game against UCF next weekend. So I hope you guys enjoy the game. It's on ESPN2. Check it out. Have fun with it. And I can't wait to break down this game next week on my next podcast. So thank you guys for listening to this special episode of the Temple Owls football program in their matchup against SMU this weekend on the road in Dallas. So thank you guys for listening. Talk to you soon. Take care. Thank you again for tuning into my Cherry Pickin' podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to subscribe to my show and drop me a rating on Apple Podcasts. All of my digital content can be found at the website CherryPickinSports.com. And if you are looking to interact with me via social media, my Twitter handle is @Cherry_Pickin. That's PICKIN. On my Twitter, you'll also find a link to my blog where I post my weekly college football predictions and analysis. I can also be reached via email at cherrypickinsports@gmail.com. Please feel free to reach out to me regarding what you like about this podcast or about what content you'd like to hear more of on future episodes. I sincerely thank you for your support, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon. Take care.